Meet Tomishibai Erigin, a normal boy interested only in cute girls and losing his virginity, whose life suddenly takes a surreal turn when he transfers schools and gets involved in high school gang wars along with getting merged with a genie named Senya. Join us in this wacky tale as Erigin tries to keep out of trouble in Bucchigiri. A boy, Tomishibai Erigin, practices talking with girls in front of a mirror, while a pair of boys wake up in a shrine after a night of drinking. Feeling something shaky and gets scared over the legend of a honky person being sealed here before hurriedly running away. In the age of samurai, there were those who threw away their swords and adorned with nothing but their honky, devoted themselves fully towards reaching the top. On Ara's first day at school, he learns of the rivalry between the Minato Kai and Suguma squads, but isn't interested and is surprised to discover a cute girl, Mihiro, in a class filled with weird delinquents. After school, Mihiro unexpectedly invites him to walk home together, so he excitedly heads for the gate, but runs into his old friend Matakara on the way, who warmly greets him. But he excuses himself and gloomily leaves, but sees that Mihiro has already left. The next day, Ara wonders where Mihiro is during class and heads for the roof to eat his lunch alone, but unexpectedly finds her there as she casually asks if they can be friends, which he happily accepts. So she invites him to hang out on Saturday as Matakara notices the two talking to Mihiro. After school, Ara excitedly buys a stone to carve a gift for her before some bullies unexpectedly appear and forcefully take him to an arcade, but run away as Ara gets cornered by some bullies calling it their turf and stripping him until he's only in his underclothes before Ara rushes away and traps himself inside a shrine. As the bullies try to break in, he knocks over a sealed box, revealing a mysterious gun, and fires it to scare them off, but gets accidentally hit by the ricocheting bullet. A while later, he wearily wakes up, remembering what happened before a Majin named Senya appears and asks what he wishes for, so he slowly answers that he wishes to lose his virginity. Meanwhile, the two guys from before inform Matakara about how lame Ara is hearing, which he agrees that he's a really gentle guy and doesn't fight as Ara goes about his daily life, wondering if Senya is real or just his imagination, and carves a stone as a gift for Mihiro, calling it a love forever stone. Getting ready for the date, he notes that the bullet is still lodged in his head in confusion before his caretaking aunt correctly guesses that he's going on a date and tells him to get as far as he can. While waiting for Mihiro, he warns Senya to not talk to him before Mihiro arrives, and they enjoy ice cream together, after which musters the courage to give her the love forever stone, declaring his feelings. Suddenly, the Suguma squad led by Mihiro's brother, interrupts them and tells Ara that he's got some love going for his younger sister before starting to beat him up, and Senya just watches as Marito remarks that this will be his 35th victim. Disappointed, Senya leaves, believing he won't find what he's looking for in this one either, before stopping as Ara asks if he really thinks he's going to die now. Like this hearing, which Senya excitedly asks him what his wish is, so he gets up declaring that his one wish is to lose his virginity before Senya merges with him, and he rushes forward, angrily pummeling Marito and sending him flying. Matakara rushes forward to save Ara before he punches Marito, seeing which he excitedly says that was just like a honky person. Confused, Senya starts arguing with Ara for not wishing for more strength before Marito gets up and sends Ara flying into a lake, calling it exciting and deciding to get Ara into Suguma. Later, Ara wakes up to see Matakara over him, who praises him for his punch before Ara remarks that beating Mihiro's brother was probably not a good idea and silently leaves. At home, he remarks that he got destroyed today, but thinks back on the surge of power he felt during the fight. Asking Senya who he really is, so he answers that he's a honky person and urges Aura to merge with him to become stronger, suggesting that they become one in body and soul, but he revoltingly declines before the aunt barges inside the shower, asking if he sneaked a kiss. At the Suguma base, a first-year Jabashiri informs Marito about how Matakara took Erigin to his place after the fight, hearing which he considers recruiting Matakara into Suguma as well, before Jabashiri says he's going to be Marito's successor. In school, Ara suddenly becomes popular for his punch on Marito. but he remarks that he doesn't want to get popular with guys before running away as Marito happily rushes towards him. Meanwhile, one of the two guys from before tells Matakara that he really shouldn't hang out with Aura since he has a weird spirit thing with him, to which he replies that he's thinking of recruiting him into the Minato Kai because Ken himself wants to meet him. Later in school, Marito asks him which class Aura's in, remarking that he wants to recruit him to Suguma. In class, Aura is frustrated by Senya constantly yammering and tells him to shut the hell up before Marito arrives, so he instantly rushes out the window and goes to meet Mihiro on the roof, who warns him not to hurt her brother again and drops the love forever stone he gave her, shattering it. The next day, Matakata invites Aura to join Minato Kai before Jabashiri arrives, and the two decide to settle it outside. As the two are fighting, Jabashiri seems to have the upper hand at first before the two decide to end it in a headbutt, and Matakata ultimately wins but falls unconscious. He later wakes up, remarking that the guy's head is like a rock before asking Aura to join Minato Kai so that they can become honky people together. But he says he's done with that and is leaving before Matakara says he's fighting for the top against Marito, hearing which he agrees to go see him and meets 21-year-old Ken before saying he wants to go at it with him, surprising Matakara. As the two face off against each other, he repeats his wish from last time and slams Ken into the wall, surprising everyone before he slowly gets back up and punches Aura into the roof. Later at school, Aura decides to jump out the window again when Marito arrives, but he catches him this time and tells him to join their team, hearing which Mihiro also innocently asks him to join, so he excitedly agrees before Matakara arrives to tell him that Ken has agreed to let him join Minato Ken. But Marito says they missed their chance because Aura is his now. Matakara attempts to persuade Aura to fulfill their dream of becoming honky people, but Marito says he's already joined Suguma before leaving. Meanwhile, a pair of boys worriedly remark that they haven't met their quota yet, fearing what will happen to them before wondering who their leader, the Emperor, is talking to. Meanwhile, Tatsu, narrating the history, explains the intense battle between Minato Kai and Ikki Union for dominance at Akizu High when the 43rd leader of Minato Kai, Demand Kanakairo, single-handedly defeated Ikki Union's boss before Marita joined it and renamed it to the Suguma Squad, whose time to reach the top spot has now come. Hearing this, Senya enthusiastically says it's fighting time, but Aura remarks that he isn't going to waste his youthful years fighting before Marito arrives, and says they're going out, which he excitedly agrees to. On their way, Jabashiri keeps watching him with a menacing expression before Marito tells him that they're headed to Aura's welcoming party where they spoil him with debauchery. Aura instantly starts daydreaming but says he's the type that can only share his heart with one girl before they suddenly get interrupted when they, the NG Boys, a group led by Shindo, an exiled member of Minato Ken, try ripping them off, saying they don't have a choice, but Marito kicks them away and sends a message for Shindo, telling him to not get too carried away. Meanwhile, Mihiro tries to invite her brother out, but dully sees that it's just a voice message before Matakara says he has something to talk about, but she screams at him to let go, running off and calling him a blockhead. At Aura's welcoming party, Marito praises his powerful punch and starts a game called Look That Away, in which the participants have to punch each other, seeing which Aura says this is just de-punchery before Marito announces that Aura will participate in the final round against Aute, the leader of the special attack unit, seeing which Aura hurriedly asks Senya to merge with him, which he wearily agrees to, but Aura loses the rock paper scissors, so Aura punches him in the face, but he tanks it with Senya's help, surprising everyone, after which Jabashiri loses the rock paper scissors, so Aura unintentionally uses a legendary technique, the centrifugal force punch, while looking at some girls passing by, and wins the match as Jabashiri bangs his head on the ground before Marito steps forward to face him in the final round, but Aura's stomach suddenly starts hurting him, so he rushes to the bathroom for a toilet break and finds an unconscious Aute. Later, Marito remarks that Ken couldn't have pulled such an underhanded tactic, but no one else is able to defeat Aura like that, after which Aura heads back home and runs into Mihiro, who tells him to become the successor after her brother, hearing which he instantly starts exercising. Later at school, he pairs up with Madakara for physical exercise before he hears that Saguma got Shitate and Amici and find the two tied to a tree, after which some Minato Ken guys get into a fight with the Saguma group. Later, Marito arrives at Minato's HQ and angrily tells Ken to show himself. As we wrap up the wild brawl and magical antics in Bucchigiri, thanks for joining the Ultimate Showdown. Subscribe for more unexpected clashes and hit the notification bell. Until next time, stay ready for the unexpected.